Hi guys, it's Fentony. This is going to be my episode 2 Stormborn video, so if you've not seen the episode already, go and watch it and come back as it's going to be full of spoilers. I've got kind of a new format going on here. A full recap is kind of boring and you could probably read a better version online, so we're going to talk about the 10 big moments from the episode instead. Just be careful for spoilers though, this is your last chance. So number 10, Daenerys' small council. The episode starts off with a great storm at Dragonstone, and it's very similar to the day that Daenerys was born, and Tyrion actually mentions this to her. I loved how she confronted Varys about serving Robert Baratheon and shipping her off to the Dothraki and actually hiring assassins to kill her. The truth is, Varys actually serves the realm and not one leader. Daenerys and him both agree that if Dany starts to act, like the Mad King, he will tell her to her face, but if he betrays her, she will feed him to her dragons. It's about time the show addresses Varys. Having him sail with her to Westeros was a bad idea in my opinion. He should have stayed in Dorne and joined her this episode. I guess the show wanted a nice visual moment with Varys there and Daenerys and all her allies, but come on, him sailing back and forth was bad enough, but this would have been a better introduction for him in this season. So Daenerys and her team are debating on how to take King's Landing without burning it to the ground. Plan is for the Dornish, the Tyrells and the Ironborn to be the ones to take King's Landing, as they're from Westeros and they're not foreign invaders. But the Unsullied and the Dothraki will be taking Castle Rock, which is the main power in Westeros. I also love the fact that Tyrion actually calls out Ellaria Sand for killing Marcella, but Ellaria Sand says, she was a Lannister, she deserved it, so that's probably hinting at Tyrion as well. She probably hates his guts. And then at the end, when everyone leaves, we get a one-on-one scene with Olenna and Daenerys. Olenna is still hurt by the death of her family, and she wants revenge on Cersei. Olenna tells her how great a queen Marjorie was, but now she's just ashes, and she tells Daenerys, "You're a dragon, not a sheep, so be one." So number 9, Jorah's grayscale. Jorah's grayscale is getting really bad now, and Archmaester Ambrose says he has about 6 months before he goes mad, and he's actually been sent to Valyria the next day, but because Jorah's sword is there, it's kinda hinted that Ambrose has given him the chance to end his life now. But Sam wants to save Jorah because he's the son of Jeor Mormont, the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch before Jon Snow. And at night, he actually sneaks into Jorah's cell, and in one of the most gruesome scenes we've had in a long time, he peels off some of the grayscale. Jorah was actually writing a letter to Daenerys, and we couldn't actually see what was in this letter. We know it starts off with Khaleesi, but it's probably telling Daenerys that he tried to cure himself, he came to the Citadel, but there's no hope. He will always love her, and he'll always support her, but it's time for him to go. So number 8, Balerion the Black Dread. Cersei has called the Lords of the Reach and other houses to side with her. Randyll Tarly and his son Dickon are there, and they're the main players. I loved how Randyll questions her about the dragons. Tarly doesn't want to break his oath to the Tyrells, and it seems like he respects Lady Olenna a lot, and he's known her since he was a boy. But Jaime's able to recruit him as his top general with the offer for being Warden of the South once the war is done. So Qyburn has been working on a way to defeat the dragons. He takes Cersei down to the dragon skulls, and his plan is one big ass ballista. We actually see him use it on one of the massive skulls, and this skull is actually Balerion the Black Dread, the dragon of Aegon the Conqueror. It was great to see Balerion's skull, and Qyburn mentions the fact that Drogon was actually hurt in the fighting pits of Meereen. This makes the dragons not seem unbeatable, but you've got to remember, hitting a moving target that's flying about at incredible speed is going to be difficult. So number 7, Melisandre is at Dragonstone. So Melisandre arrives to warn Daenerys about the long night and to meet Jon Snow. She mentions the prince that was promised, and I really liked it when Missandei corrected Dany by saying it is gender neutral. Tyrion is going to write to Jon Snow. He knows Jon from his time in season 1, and I can't wait to see them two back together. And both of them were outsiders in their family. Tyrion was a dwarf, and Jon Snow was the bastard. But Daenerys does tell Tyrion to write in the letter, bend the knee. This might cause a lot of problems up in the north, as the Northerners might not be too happy about this. So number 6, Missandei and Grey Worm finally get it on. I was never a fan of their scenes back in season 6. It kind of felt forced and quite unreal, but this time I believed it. I believed that they were actually in love. The joke scenes were terrible in season 6, but this time it was serious, as Grey Worm is going to Castle Rock and he might not come back. So number 5, Jon Snow in the north. Jon has gotten Dany's letter, so some time must have passed, and he shares it with Sansa and Davos, and they don't like the idea of Jon Snow going to Dragonstone, but Davos mentions the fact that dragons breathe fire, which could destroy the Whites. And then we get another meeting in the Winterfell Great Hall, and Jon tells the Northern Lords in the Vale his plan to go to Dragonstone, and nobody's happy. But Jon has made up his mind and gives a speech about how he always will fight for the North. This is definitely teasing Jon Snow's true parentage, as no matter what the outcome is, he will always be a Northerner. He is going to Dragonstone to get Dragonglass and to try to convince Daenerys to side with him against the White Walkers, and he has left Sansa in charge, which kinda shocked her. She wants Jon to respect her and to listen to her. Well, he's given her Winterfell now, so she can't complain. Before he leaves though, Jon goes to the crypt of Winterfell and you actually see Ned Stark's statue, but Littlefinger interrupts him. He reminds Jon that without him, Jon would have died at the Battle of the Bastards, and he admits that he loves Sansa, just like he loved Catelyn. Bad move, as Jon Snow choke slams Littlefinger against the wall and warns him to stay away from Sansa, or he will kill him. Outside, Jon and Sansa wave goodbye to each other, and both of them look worried, as whatever happens next is quite uncertain for them, and Littlefinger sets his sights on Sansa. Number 4. Arya and Hot Pie. Arya's at the Crossroads Inn where she meets Hot Pie again, and there's actually a Frey Pie mention. I doubt Hot Pie will start selling them, but it was a clever line. I loved how Arya still thinks that Winterfell is in the hands of the Boltons, but Hot Pie tells her that Jon Snow is now king in the north. Arya, who's pretty shocked here, decides to go home, but before she does, she sees the road to King's Landing and then the road to Winterfell, and it takes her a minute and she hesitates, but she knows where she belongs and she heads up north. Arya and Nymeria. On her way back up north, Arya is surrounded by a pack of wolves, and we finally get to see Nymeria again, and she is massive. Arya does call out to Nymeria, and she wants her to come back to Winterfell with her, but Nymeria backs off into the woods. Nymeria has found her family, and Arya realises this. Arya has been the lone wolf for a long time now, so it's time for her to rejoin the pack. Nymeria has been missing since episode 2 of season 1, and this might be the last we see of her. I hope she comes back in season 8, but I'm not putting money on it. The Sand Snakes. One last bad Sand Snake scene before they go. They're in the hammocks, and they're arguing about who should kill who. Nice mention of Oberyn in the mountain, but this was just a couple minutes of wasted time. They tried, but it didn't work. And number 1, Yara versus Euron. Ellaria and Yara are about to get it on, and Euron ambushes them. Euron was a badass here, and he killed Obara and Nymeria Sand, which would have made him a fan favourite. Yara is a badass, but when she goes one-on-one with Euron, she gets her ass handed to her. This scene showed us how dangerous Euron and his fleet are, especially his flagship, Silence. But the biggest moment was when Euron gave Theon the chance to save Yara, but Theon jumps overboard to save himself. Just when we thought old Theon was coming back, Reek returns. So Euron now has Ellaria, Tyene and Yara, his priceless gifts. The Greyjoy fleet has been destroyed, or whatever is left might be taken by Euron, but we do see his ship sail off as Theon is floating in the water. 2 episodes into season 7, and I'm pretty happy with how the show is done, Euron. I like this episode a lot. The first one never really moved the plot along enough, but this episode tried to. Yeah, it was slow in places, but we actually got somewhere. Daenerys has her plan, she's met Melisandre, and she's called for Jon Snow. A reunion between Melisandre and Davos is going to be interesting. Melisandre will have Daenerys' protection until maybe she learns about Shireen, and that might change. Plus the huge Jon Snow and Daenerys meeting, which is going to happen in episode 3. Speaking of Jon Snow, it's taken him 2 out of the 7 episodes to leave Winterfell, but he's going to have a lot of travelling to do in the next 5 episodes. I do wish someone would point out the fact that he's not in the Night's Watch anymore. Maybe Daenerys mentions this next episode. The sea battle was shorter than most battles on the show, but this will be the first of many. It was not meant to be a long battle, as it was very one-sided. I liked it a lot, and it showed us how dangerous Euron Greyjoy is. So what do you think about the episode? What was your favourite moment, and was there anything you didn't like? And what's next for each character? Be sure to let me know in the comments below, and then if you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like on it, as that really helps me out. And then if you've not already done so, please hit that subscribe button for more Game of Thrones videos. The next episode preview is out, and I'll make a video on that, and there is going to be quite a lot of predictions and theory videos this week. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.